Welcome. Welcome to my channel, everyone. And I wanted to give out a personal shout out to every single person that watched my Star Trek video because I didn't realize how much I was going to resonate with so many people. I literally made that video from my heart, and it was from my heart. And then I woke up the next day to about 209 comments. My video is over 3,000 watch hours, people watching, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't realize the impact or something what I said in that video was going to resonate with so many people. And I cannot express to you. I also woke up with 44 new subscribers. So I want to welcome all to my channel who did subscribe because of the Star Trek video. I have a wonderful community. And like I said, I talk about different topics because I'm not a one niche type of girl. And that Star Trek video was something that I have been planning to do. Maybe for about 2 weeks. I didn't push the button on it until I saw the puppet episode. But like I said in my video, I have been a Star Trek fan since I was little for myself. I am a Gen Xer. I was born in 1969. I am going to be 56 years old in October. Um, the show ended the year I was born, as I mentioned in my video, and I just wanted to go over a couple of other things and some comments that were made that I wanted to clear things up based on my video because, I understand that this is a very passionate topic for many people. So to be clear, I didn't get into Star Trek until the late 80s when I was able to have control of the television. I grew up in a, one television home, and my brother and I, my grandmother and my mother, and the adults controlled the television, and whatever was on television was on. Though Star Trek had been in syndication for a while at that point, I had absolutely zero conception of what was sci-fi, what was Star Trek at all. I knew Star Wars because it came out in 1979 and we went to see the movie, but I didn't realize that Star Trek was on television. And that's because there was no one in my house that follows this. And I'm going to be honest with you. There's no one in my life right now that does either. Ironically, I've been alone as a Star Trek fan and unable to communicate or have discussions with someone about Star Trek in a very, very long time. Okay. So in my home, it was more cop procedural TV shows that we were watching, like Kojak, Beretta, Hill Street Blues, or comedies like Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days. I was lucky to get Wonder Woman when I was able to watch it. And, the only time my brother and I had control of the television was just like every other kid, Saturday morning cartoons, which is how I became a DC fan and I watched Super Friends. So, and still, I don't remember the Star Trek animation series on when I was a girl either, when I was young. So when it was just my grandmother and I, when we were living together after I parted ways with my mother, I had the television to myself. And like I said, one night I was watching television and it was one of our local stations here. And I don't remember the order of it, but I do remember watching, it was, The Honeymooners, huge fan. The Odd Couple, I could watch that all day. And then Star Trek. And when Star Trek came on, I just remember sitting in the living room and I was by myself. It was dark. My grandmother's already in bed. And I was just like, and I remember the episode. It was the one where Spock meets his dad on the deck and they had to go fight to Pring, right? And of course, back then we didn't have the internet. If we had a TV guide, I don't think I had a TV guide. I don't think I've had access to a TV guide. Whatever was on television was on television. So I don't know episodes. I don't know seasons at this point, right? So I'm just watching this powerful episode and these three men with this woman and the father and the mother. And it was just like, what is this? What in the hell is this? Which is probably why I bought season 2 on DVD. Um, so every night it would play, right? So I'm presuming it's in order. I never knew what the last episode was until years later when I was able to research it. Um, so it's just on every single night, and I would just watch and watch. And when I got through the first rotation, I realized it's starting all over again. And that was when the Kirk came in, and it was after Pike, and then they try to do that Pike episode where he's in the wheelchair. It took a while for me to make the connection of what was going on. I had absolutely no clue what the history was, and back then we didn't have a place for us to have discussions like we do now. I knew about the conventions, but I never had the money to go. So it was not something that I can do. And I have worked with many people because I worked in corporate, I worked in Manhattan, I worked in the city. Um, my brother, my son, my parent, nobody in my home, nobody. When I tell you no one in my immediate close family knows about, cares about Star Trek, no one. And it's funny because I've had Star Trek on my son's entire life and he still doesn't like it. He'll watch Batman. He'll like DC, but you talk to him about Trek, he looks like, what? Like he knows about it and he knows I'm a fan. I don't want to say fanatic, a fan, but it's not something that he gravitates to, which is why I went to the theater by myself to watch Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams version, because I had nowhere to go with. So, finding so many people in the social media space, whether they hate it or love it, fans or disagree or whatever the case may be. And it could be for TOS, TNG, Star Trek Strange New World, DS9, all of it has been such an interesting discovery to me because where the hell have you people been all my life? Seriously, where? I only dated one person long term. It was, you could say, I say this with trepidation because it turned out to be a really bad relationship for me in the end. And for longtime viewers of my channel, this is the person that I was with for about a decade, and we were going to get married, and I had a panic attack, and my body said, "No, you're not," and I said, "Okay, I'm not." I didn't know he was a Star Trek fan when I met him, and we were dating, and then one day I had Star Trek on television when he came over when I was making dinner. It was BC, before child. That's how I like to call it. My life before child. Don't judge me. And he just looked at me, and I'm going to say that was the moment that we realized that we had a special connection because he didn't know I was a Star Trek fan, and I didn't know he was a Star Trek fan, and I was just cooking. I left it on, and let's just say we connected over Star Trek. We would do the marathons on television. We would talk about it, and it's probably the only person in my entire life that I have been able to go deep into the original series because Next Generation hadn't come out yet, I believe. No, it did. It did. It did. But we were into TOS. Um, so ever since that person, I have not been able to find anyone like physically. Like I could talk to you guys. I know that you guys are listening and watching. And there's, like I said, dedicated channels that are about the Star Trek and stuff like that. But I have not been able to sit down in front of someone and actually talk about it. So yes, when I made that video, I was speaking from the heart. And oh my God, the responses I got from you guys were pretty amazing. So I want to thank you for that because I'm a little old channel and I am trying to get through all my comments. I am, okay, so let's be clear. I am not one of these creators that don't try to respond to the comments. Now, I don't think it's realistic for a one person operation that I am that's going to be able to go through all the comments every single time. But I know that there's creators that have people that help them that they should be responding to their comments, because if you took the time to watch my channel and watch what I'm talking about and add your perspective, nicely. Some people are not nice, and I get it, but that's the cost of this game that we're playing here on YouTube. You'll get people who are nasty, and I just don't respond to them. I will respond to someone that has an interesting point of view, that's respectful, that has, some great comments or makes me laugh. I love somebody that can make me laugh. I will do that. But if you're disrespectful and you want to be a jerk, I'm not going to respond to you. That's just not going to happen. But I do believe in creators responding to their subs, or even if you don't become a sub and you still make a comment, I'm okay with that. And I will respond to you. Because this is a two-way street, though this is a one-way mirror because I'm only looking at a camera and you're looking at me and we're not in front of each other. The whole point of this whole community or establishing a community is to have some sort of communication. So, I do try to respond to almost every comment that I can. So if I haven't responded to your comment yet, I have read them all. It's just that I haven't been able to respond to it yet. And because I want to also do more recordings. So please do forgive me. I will get to you. I found some very funny people on some of the comments and some beautiful points of view, and I appreciate every single one of them. Um, and what I said in my video, I knew I was missing two other shows, and I'm shocked that I missed Picard. I did watch all three seasons. First two seasons, I wouldn't even call it a show. I don't know what that was. Third season, yes, it was good, but that's only because they were able to finagle every person from TNG back onto the show. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't. What would be the show? And then poof, gone. Now that you finally got your footing, you decide that you're gonna, not do any more. It's just okay. And Section 31, I did not watch that. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't need to watch it. It was not something that was interesting when it was on Discovery, and it will not be interesting as a standalone. And from what I understand, it is not good. I'm tired of watching bad shows. I'm tired. Listen, some people made a comment. It's time to give up. Give up the ghost. Give up the show. Um, I am going to say that for this rendition, yes, it's time to give it up. Do I believe it's time to give up Star Trek completely? No, because remember, Star Trek was about hope, right? And I hold out for hope, which is why I was able to go through some of the shows and make my own decision, not just listen to other people. I knew Section 31 was going to be garbage. I didn't have to say I saw the trailer. I was like, no, not for me. It doesn't mean that people have their, opinions about it, but my opinion was I didn't want to waste my time watching something that I didn't enjoy when I was watching Discovery. I'm not going to watch it now. Period. That's it. My choice, right? I didn't finish Discovery. I couldn't finish it. Somebody out there must like Discovery, right? And that's great. If you like Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I was looking for Strange New Worlds. I was not looking for strange new scripts. And to make a point of this, for people who feel that, people who feel that we get upset, we being the fans, when things change. How could I put this? When you take something that has been created by someone, let's say you're the creator, right? It could be anything. And a majority of people fall in love with it, enjoy it, want it, will stick with the television show. This was created, this was written. They developed these characters. They did what they had to do to get through the seasons and created a fan base, right? That's why the shows have done so well, because there are fans who enjoy what was done. Okay. The reason why I believe TNG was so successful is because it didn't stomp on TOS. It became its own lore. It wrote on the back of the Star Trek name, rightfully so, but it didn't diminish, demolish, or change, or try to make people feel like they're less than for enjoying the other show or changing parts of it. It became its own lore, which spun off all of the other shows that we watch. DS9, Voyager, all of those shows. Because they don't try to change what was the original purpose of it and the fans, and they built upon it and created a new fan base and kept the fans that were always fans of Star Trek part of that fan. What I feel has happened in the last, I'm going to say what, it's been like 9 years now of this era, or Kurtzman era, maybe 5. I really don't know. They go back and they rip apart what was created by people who, with their blood, sweat, and tears, took the time to create these characters, create these worlds, create the fan base, went back and said, yeah, okay, great. I'm going to take your name and I'm going to do something completely different with every character that you ever know. Did you see the Klingons on Discovery? I don't even know what that was. Seriously, I didn't. I was like, those are not Klingons. Come on, what's wrong with them? It's like little things like that, that completely negates the purpose of having fans. Because let me tell you, when you have fans, they create new fans. I've tried with my son. He didn't want to, but I know that there's people who will take someone and be like, I love to watch this. And either they really, really enjoy it with that person, they become a fan, or they don't. But at the end of the day, it's the fans that drive the move forward. So when you take something and you completely just disregard it, disrespect it, and you completely forget that there's people who grew up watching this and will continue to show them to their children, or there will be, other ways that they can create the fan base, and you just like, yeah, you're lazy. Let's get realistic. Why would you take a Star Trek name and then just poo poo all over it and recreate everything and change it to what you want to like, and not remember that there's a reason why the shows were so successful? I don't get that. I don't get why people don't understand that. Think about it from your creative perspective. If you created something and somebody, and was so beloved and loved, and then someone just comes in and rips it out and takes your likeness and just say, yeah, great, we're going to do it this way. What? Who are you to do that? And that's how I feel that these shows and are doing. It's like, at the very minimum, at least J.J. Abrams, when he did Star Trek, he didn't try to completely recreate the wheel and change the lore. I hated the Starship Enterprise. I felt like I needed, shades to watch it, because it was so bright. But at least he kept the core characters together, right? Spock, Kirk, McCoy. Oh my God, you know who I'm talking about. Those people, all those the groups together. Scotty. Um, you know, uh, oh my God, I forgot her name, and I hate that. It's mom brain. Sorry, grandma brain. So at the end of the day, he tried to create something. Now the scripts were horrible after that, like I said, but at least he didn't completely, like, he created his own timeline. Now we have two Spocks, and he at least brought Leonard Nimoy back. He wasn't perfect, trust me, I know. But when I look at it in comparison to what Kurtzman has been doing, at least there was something there that would remind you of the group. you know I don't recognize this at all, because I feel that they didn't care enough to give a shit about why the shows made an impact on so many levels: engineering, space travel, NASA. I when I think about something, I worked in a building in Miami when I was living in Miami. And it was a commercial building. So there was tenants on the first floor that you would need to walk past to get to the elevators. And there was an engineering company, the administrative offices, I believe. And there's a guy that, you would see, because they have glass windows, going into the building, and you could see the offices unless they closed their blinds. And he had a miniature Spock on his desk. And every time I walked by, I would just take a quick look until he noticed one day that I was looking at it, and I was looking at him, and he just waved to me at the window, and I went, and he knew that I was a fan. So, and he nodded his head, and every morning we would go by, we would give each other that sign, until we moved out of the building and I never saw him again. Um, that's probably one of my great moments, because it's like, you show your love loud and proud, right? And like I said, I've never even worked with anybody who I can talk to about Star Trek. So when you have that kind of fan base, that kind of love, that kind of respect, and people just come in and say, well, I'm going to take what you're doing and I'm just going to change it all around. The hell with what anybody else thinks. And we're going to create this new fan base. Well, you're not. You didn't. It's a risk. And it was a risk that I believe they wanted to take because they really just didn't care. They didn't care. They don't care. So, as far as the history of what I feel about this franchise, as I said, I wanted to say goodbye properly, to anyone that's listening, that is part of the old Trek and worked on old Trek or have a love for old Trek. I was really heartfelt about it. I really meant goodbye, Thank you for everything that you've done, because regardless of what New Trek is doing, this show had made an impact. The shows, the movies, the spin-offs made an impact, and we cannot forget that. And we won't, because they'll always be out there, God willing, on streaming. And there will always be a fan base that is willing to come on camera, willing to make a comment, willing to go to the conventions, whatever it takes. So no, I am not going to give up on someone somewhere at some point in time, whether I'm here or not, that's going to pick up that mantle properly and understand what it means to have an impact and a show and an IP that is so beloved and so important. Because I may have not known anyone personally that was a fan that I can resonate, but there are millions upon millions of people out there that are. I just haven't met them physically yet. So I appreciate everyone who took the time to watch my video, who took the time to subscribe, and wants to hear more comments about me, because I do have other shows that I'm watching, and I'm recording another one today. It's not always going to be about science fiction, but it will be when I find something. And there's other lovers of other shows, there's Stargate. I know a lot of people who watch Stargate. When I say that, I know a lot of people online that I watch their reviews on those types of shows. I have not met a sci-fi fanatic like I am personally, but I am willing to communicate with you guys, and you guys have given me a lot of love and respect, and I don't feel so alone anymore, and I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you for all the comments. And yeah, Star Trek, the new Trek still sucks. It's not going to change. I don't know if I'm going to watch the next episode. If you guys, let's say 30 likes on this video, and then, I'll go take a look at the next one and give you my review, and my honest review, and from my heart. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. And you can agree or disagree. We can agree to disagree as well, as long as we do it in a respectful manner. So I want to thank everybody who took the time to watch and to subscribe and to like and hype and share. Stay tuned. There's more coming. And I want to wish you all a beautiful day, week, month, year. Bye.